I'm filling my cup, I'm filling my soul, healing my heart, taking control. I've been empty, now I overflow. Welcome to Self-Full Convos. Self-Full Convos. Your healing's overdue. Fill your cup, let your spirit move. Self-Full Convos made for you.
Hello, beautiful people. You just stepped into Self-Full Convos, where healing, love, and laughter will flow freely. I am your host, Nyshea Alexander, and this is a space for you to refill, reset, and remember the power of your cup. So settle in and allow me to pour into you. Self-Full Convos is all about bringing awareness to your cup, the capacity of your cup. And when I say your cup, I mean you. Learning and healing through the real life experiences and real plans to prioritize you. First, let me start by introducing myself. Yes, I am Nyshea Alexander. Some also know me as Coach Nye. I am a certified life coach, an author, a wife, a mother to 4 amazing children and 3 fur babies. And if pour into yourself was a person, baby, you are looking at her, okay? I am the embodiment of self-full. I mean, for crying out loud, I came up with the brand. But yes, I am what it means to understand what the capacity of your cup is, what you have to give to people, what do you have to pour out to impact or to be effective, and knowing when to allow others to pour into you or when to give in your overflow and what your overflow looks like for you. Granted, everyone cup is different, everyone capacity is different, but we all have the same goal, and that's to become self-full. So I want to share a little bit about my story with you and why becoming so full resonates so deeply with myself, and I believe in my message wholeheartedly. And I just don't want to give you the spickle spackle parts and not give you the whole story of me and what made me me, the whole person, the whole person, my whole being. And I just want you to sit back, buckle up, put your seatbelt on, buckle up, and let's dive into who is Coach Nye. I was raised by a single mom of 3 girls, and my father was absent for various reasons. And I know that sounds crazy because absence normally is like one reason and one reason only, but it was various. At first, it was prison, and then it was choice. So when I say various, it just depends on the moment, the day, the year. What are we talking about? But that was the gist of my upbringing. My household was never, and not that my mother didn't do her best. I never want that to be misconstrued. My mother provided everything that she could that was within her wheelhouse. And I realized as I became an adult, my mom was also operating to the best of her cup ability. And I'm grateful for that. But my house was far from the place you go and seek tranquility and peace. I mean, it was 3 girls in the house. You talk about fighting like cats and dogs. I don't know who was the dog and who was the cat, but baby, we was fighting, okay? The fights were endless. And my sisters, we have a complicated relationship as it is. I mean, it's been periods of time where we went years without speaking because of our upbringing, or we held things against each other, or we actually became like, and I'm not talking about the sister fights that you have in the house. It was plenty of times like you would think we were freaking frack off the street and we was going blow for blow like World War III. That was my house. That was our upbringing. We never was taught to address certain problems. It was more sweep it under the rug. All I knew was my mom work, 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 work. The definition of hustle was Felicia. Like that lady worked and hustled and grinded to make sure that we had. But within that working, She became more of the provider and the protector rather than the nurturer and the that motherly, that what you expect to get from a mother. Like, don't get me wrong, we got that level of affection, we had some nurturing, but her main priority as a single mom was to protect and to provide, and she did that. She did that. Yes, yes, she did that. um so my upbringing is what shaped me, because although I lived in some sort of dysfunction, I still was able to pick up those pieces of me that I needed to become the person that I am, although it didn't fully shape me. Yeah, let's just leave it at that. And for the majority of my childhood, I was angry, and rightfully so. Like, don't get me wrong. Like, I always craved to be a daddy girl. That did not happen for me. My father went to prison when I was 5 years old. I actually, unfortunately, witnessed it. I witnessed the raid. I seen it happen. It was like real life for me, and that's forever embedded, like, as a memory in my head. Um, but also I can say within that, that shaped who I was today, because I was able to handle other things at a different level, at a different understanding, because I experienced something at an early age. Although it wasn't good, although it wasn't right, it taught me how to handle things later on down the line. Um, and yeah, so I'm gonna say my upbringing, as far as like my house and what my mom and how my parents brought me up with my sisters, although it was far from the easy breezy unicorns, rainbows, and sunshines, I'm grateful for the path that I went down. Um, Now, when I did start to make my shift, it was right after my first year of college. If I want to say I was 18, summer of 2011. Good year for me. Um, Summer of 2011, came home from college, and I ended up getting pregnant. Mind you, I'm 18 years old at this time, and I was in limbo. I wasn't really sure what I wanted to do. And I'm gonna keep it honest with you guys. Abortion never crossed my mind. That never was me. At an early age, I got diagnosed with PCOS, so having kids for me was already an oddity to my doctor. It was like, this might not happen for you, and that's something I found out very early on. So although people have this perception of, oh, you're moving fast, all these things, when it happened, my mindset wasn't abort mission. It was show up. Show up. You laid there. You better stand up and do what you got to do. That was literally my mindset. And I had my first child when I was 19 years old. So I got pregnant at 18, all of that great stuff. Celebrated my 19th birthday, and few months after that, I'm a mom, right? Um, I'm a mom, and I realized very early on, that I had nothing to give my child. And I'm not talking about in the financial aspect. I'm not talking about, um, presence wise. I'm talking about the emotional and the mental capacity. I did not have anything to give my child. I did not know how to nurture, right? I just told you I saw my mom work. I saw my mom do all these things, and I was the baby. So it's not like I got to see my mom nurture or raise up a newborn. I was the newborn. My older sisters watched it. So I didn't have anything to pick up from, or any book. And that's when I realized, baby, I'm empty. And although I did not understand or fully comprehend what that message was, I knew I had to start working on me in that moment for me to be not only an effective mom, but an impactful mom and be the mom I desired to be, I had to do some work. And that involved me going to therapy. Shout out to Destiny. I still give my girl all the prompts. When I say Destiny held me down from, let's think of the years, from 2012 all up until about 2016, 2017. That was my girl. That was my rock. Amazing therapist. Definitely had me rethink every stigma I ever thought about therapy. It definitely became my safe haven, my place of peace. And through that, I had learned there was a lot of traumas that I had to address. There was a lot of unhealed parts in me that needed love and attention and needed to know that, the little girl in me needed to know that this big woman now would now take care of her and that she will be okay and that she is safe and protected. And that's what therapy helped me do. It helped me address that little girl in me that missed that hug or missed that extra kiss on the cheek, that needed to be told some affirming things about herself so she wouldn't go through, the ups and downs with self-esteem, or, every frick frack Joe Sarah that told her she beautiful, she's falling for it. I needed to heal those parts of me to be what I needed to be for my child. That nurturing piece of me, that compassionate piece, that more patient piece. I had to address some things for me to be able to deliver how I wanted to be for my child, for my children. And I'm going to keep it all the way about, because I fully believe that it's best that we all keep it transparent, and that's when your message gets across and it's received better and it's more relatable. Although in therapy, lived repetitive cycles for 7 years. When I say 7 years, I mean 7 years. Like that whole, oh baby, Jesus had them walking 40 days. No, what is it? 40 years or something, 40 days and 40 nights, whatever it was, baby. That was me for 7 years. I was going through repetitive cycles. And it was because although you are healing, if you are going through your healing journey and something gets tough and you stop, you're not healed. You stop mid journey. Like you get stuck in that cycle because you think you got past it, but trick is you just became okay. But the test will come again and you might fall for it, end up right where right back where you're at, because that piece of you was never fully addressed. You never got to the real root of why, the who, the what, the why. And next thing you know, you back down that road. That was me. And it wasn't just, in terms of intimate relationships, it was everything. It was the finances, the relationships, my career. It was like I just wasn't feeling fulfilled. That level of fulfillment I desired, that level of fulfillment I craved in each area of my life, whether it be friendships, relationships, career, financial, my social life, whatever it may be, hobbies, entrepreneurship. I just was not reaching that level of feeling fulfillment because I have yet to fulfill me. I have yet to actually pour into my cup. I have yet to even acknowledge what my cup really is. And that's why I stress it's so important. Until you realize that you are your cup, you will forever, ever be on a journey of finding and still be lost, because you have to recognize how important you are and what you need for you to be effective for everyone else. And that moment, that aha moment came to me, unfortunately, in 2019 after a debacle of a failed engagement, honey. A debacle. When I say debacle, I mean debacle, okay? Humiliating, embarrassing. Everything was public. And I feel like as a female, that brings you to a space of, is it me? What did I do wrong? Am I not enough? And the simple fact that I was asking myself those questions instead of reassuring myself that I am enough and this is God blocking something that wasn't for me, I knew, I knew I wasn't where I thought I would be. And that's a hard pill to swallow. So I got in the mirror one day and I literally asked myself, how do you expect somebody to love you if you don't fully love yourself? And the reality of it is we like to put point and put blame on other people, but we are the problem. We are expecting things from other people and other outside sources that we have yet to give into ourselves. We want Joe, Rebecca, Sarah, Jake, Parker to love us, but behind closed doors, we don't even do anything to show ourselves that we love ourselves. Meaning, you have yet to set a time, quiet time, for you to even just decompress. You have yet to go to that gym to make the change that you desire. You have yet to make your health your priority. You have yet to start a savings for an emergency fund to protect yourself. It's those simple things. And you're like, what do you mean? I mean, you have yet to set boundaries. And I hate to be the one to tell you, but a person who do not love themselves, the most evident way of seeing it is a person who lacks boundaries. If you let people do whatever, say whatever, and conduct themselves however in your presence, baby, it shows a lot about you and how inside you may be battling some things that you feel like you have to deal and tolerate and put up with some things for love. I'm just saying, don't shoot the messenger. So I want to say, in that moment of getting in that mirror, it made me realize I wasn't being unrealistic. Although I could be hurt, I could be mad, the engagement is over. I need to be crying because I failed at loving myself. I failed at actually pouring into my cup. I failed at actually putting me first. How dare I? Like, how dare I not pour into me? And I want to say, at that moment, baby, I got in my bag. Do you hear me? I got in my bag. And I'm not just talking about I got in my bag and I'm rolling. No, this is not just about money. When I tell you, everything changed. My mental from that day forward changed. My emotional changed. My boundaries, what I was putting up with, the standards, the expectations that I had, that I required, changed. How I conducted myself changed. How I treated myself, especially in private, changed. Baby, I became a new, like, that maybe people may not have listened to the Lizzo mixtape, but when she said, you gonna meet a whole new, okay, I was that. I was her. I am her. I woke up and I realized the life I live, or the life I desire to live, I have a choice. I have a choice in making the full control, the full shift, but it's only if I do the work. If I wasn't doing the work, how can I expect something from nothing? I had to get up and get in my bag, meaning I had to get up in therapy. I'm going to the gym. Why? The gym not just about the body. The gym is teaching my mind I can control these things. I can make or get my body to do things I thought it would never do. It's teaching me that I have more power than I thought I could ever have. Baby, the first time I did a pull-up, I left that gym and went home and ripped the carpet up on the stairs because I was like, I could refurbish this. I know I can. It made me feel like I could do anything. I started to fall back in love with me again. I started to go out and find what made me happy. Meaning, listen, y'all, I didn't know I love painting this much, but I do. And then I realized I loved it this much when my whole hallway was covered in my paintings. And then when I got the great grand ideas of starting to paint my kids' bedrooms, and I'm not just talking about, oh, let me just paint the wall purple. No, I had patterns, black, this. I enjoyed paint. That was my thing. I was falling back in love with me again. And I realized through that, baby, I miss putting my toes in the grass. I am a, I'm a barefoot kid. But because I throughout the years I became a people pleaser and I wanted to adjust and accommodate, I started to become less and less of self and lose those things that brought me simple joy. I love going to the park and walking barefoot in the grass. I love baby kicking my shoes off. You ain't got to tell me twice. They off. They're off. So I realized that becoming self-full was not just my message, but it was what I embodied. It was who I am. Everything and every piece of me that was brought through every phase of this life, God brought me to the moment of being the self-full advocate, as I would like to say. I am the cup filler, the purpose pusher. I want you to understand that once you identify and utilize your cup to the fullest of its potential, you are unstoppable. Unstoppable. And going through real healing and addressing traumas and triggers and the old you, and letting yourself go and no longer holding yourself to the shouldas and couldas and wouldas of life, that you can actually operate to the best of your ability. So all in all, self-full is understanding you and your cup, that you're not good at being anything to anybody else unless you are good to yourself first. Meaning you need to love yourself properly, fulfilling every area of your life before outsourcing and seeking some type of love elsewhere. Now, it looks, it feels, it has an aura, a different vibe for everyone, because everybody's cup is not the same. I can be a 2-gallon, somebody else could be a 1 liter, and somebody else could be a 20-ounce. But it's figuring out what your capacity is and operating the best within your wheelhouse, using your cup effectively, and learning how to fill it so that we can experience a overflow, because we love an overflow. That's the trick. You don't pour from your cup, you give from your overflow. And that's allowing yourself, going through the phases healing may bring you to. And as I wrote in my book, I Am Unavailable, Becoming Self-Full, you're gonna have to go through some phases. And a lot of the times it starts with acknowledging brokenness, and then learning to fall in love with your solitude. And there will be an elimination, whether you like it or not, involuntarily, voluntarily. People will leave and people got to go. You're going to learn how to accept what you then need into your life and how to attract the right things for yourself. And you're also going to go through my favorite part of the take. Once you acquire everything that you need and you address every part of you, baby, everything that is meant to be yours, you're going to go out and take it. You're not asking for permission no more. You're moving in straight power, aura, energy. We're giving Timothy, okay? I'm coming for what's mine, period. Like, the moment I had my epiphany, I smelled the coffee, I had my come to Jesus moment, however you want to put it, it started with addressing me. I found an amazing therapist. I got in the gym. I did a complete 180 in my career, which brought me to life coaching, what brought me to becoming an author of my first book, what brought me to getting the degree that makes me actually feel fulfilled, which is psychology and human services. Pouring into you will bring you to the best person you desire to be. I've seen it in my life. I have not experienced a greater love than I have with the partner that I have until I provided myself with the greatest love. Do you hear me? Pouring into you. Pouring into you and becoming self-full will give you everything you need to attract everything life has for you. So I just want you to understand the power and what it takes to become self-full and what it could do for you. And through that, you will understand that my intention with sitting behind this mic is to pour into each and every one of you that hear the sound of my voice or maybe watching this via different platform. Now, that's going to be through honest conversations, practical tools, and a little laughter along the way, because I believe laughter heals the soul. And low-key, if you never knew this, fun fact, laughter burns calories. I'm just saying. So I thank you for listening to the very first episode of SelfFull Convos and allowing me to pour into you and actually sitting here getting to know a little bit about me and what brought me to my moment of becoming self-full. Next week, we will have episode 2, which will be more on the lines of where we are. It's going to be exactly what I said, all about you, acknowledging you. And this will be about acknowledging those broken cups, acknowledging where your leaks are, addressing where you may have put a lot of band-aids over instead of just patching up or really addressing the wound. And I invite everybody, make sure you follow, subscribe on all platforms. It is at SelfFull Convos on Instagram, TikTok, YouTube, and all listening platforms for your podcast. So make sure you tap in with your girl and stay connected. I thank you for letting me pour into you today. Don't forget to check your cup, honor it, and love yourself. Until next time, beautiful people, stay full, stay whole, stay self-full.
Keep your cup full, let your light glow. Remember your peace as you go. Till next time, you already know. Self-Full Convos, yeah. Stay full, stay true. Self-Full Convos just for you.